Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Call the City Council Committee of the Whole meeting for Wednesday, April 3rd to order. This time we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Would you please join Alderwoman McGinnis in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Krupp, please call the roll.
Ardon.
Here.
Kelly. McGinnis.
Here.
Reinhardt.
Here.
Grip.
Here.
Newton.
Here.
Lynch.
Here.
T-Dunn.
Here.
Jobson.
Here.
And Burkholder.
Here.
9 present, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. So again, welcome. Good evening. As we begin the meeting of the City Council Committee of the Whole, I welcome everybody in attendance and anybody who's watching through any particular electronic device. Respectfully, we welcome your comments and opinions. Please keep in mind that as you share your thoughts, you're sharing them with your fellow Davenporters and anybody throughout the region. We're happy you're participating in your city government, but ask that your participation please reflect the common desire we all share to make Davenport a better place. For folks in here, if you'd please put your cell phone on silent or turn it off, simply it doesn't get in the way of anybody talking. If you want to address the council tonight, please come to the podium. The microphone's above you. Love to know your name, ward, or address, and if you're not from here, we'd love to know where you're from. Please address the council as a body, not to any individual, and the same with staff. We'll be respectful of you. Please be respectful of us. Please don't disrupt, clap, yell, scream. We want to hear what people are saying. Thank you. Is there, Ms. Gleason, any administrator update tonight?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Very good. We have 6 public hearings this evening, 1 under community development and 5 under public works. We'll start in community development. Alderman Grip and Alderman Reinhardt will lead. Alderman Grip, please.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. We have 1 public hearing tonight in community development. I open the public hearing on the proposed conveyance of vacated public right-of-way, that being a part of West 43rd Street lying between El Rancho Drive and Rodeo Road. Is there anyone from the public who's here to comment on this item? Step to the lectern, state your name and address or ward, please.
Derek Cornett, 7th Ward. I was just wondering how much you were charging the people for the land that you're giving them. I mean, the city doesn't have a good record of getting anything for their property that they give away, so I hope we get a reasonable price for it.
Is there anyone else from the public here to comment on this item? Seeing no one, I move to close the public hearing. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? This public hearing has been closed. Back to you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. Next area is Public Works. Alderman Dunn will discuss. Alderman Dunn, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 5 public hearings this evening. Open the first public hearing on the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Veterans Memorial Parkway Trail Extension Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. This public hearing is closed. I open the second public hearing on the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the West Central Park Avenue Division to Marquette Street Intersection Improvement Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. This public hearing is closed. I open the third public hearing on the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the SRF Duck Creek Golf Course Wetland Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. This public hearing is closed. I open the fourth public hearing on the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the West 53rd Street Diamond Grinding Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I move to close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. This public hearing is closed. And I open up the fifth public hearing on the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Permaroll Paver Repair Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this public hearing?
Gary Eklund, I live in Davenport. I am all in favor of water management. When I saw the terms permeable paver, I've been working for the last 10 years on water management in my home and yard. And I had some Italian ceramic tiles that I was using in a similar way to permeable paver in my yard and in my gardens. And
Sir, could you stick to the project, please?
yes, sir, I just want to say I'm in favor of permeable pavers. And if no one from the city comes and destroys them, then maybe you can do it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I move to close this public hearing. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And that concludes our public hearings this evening, Your Honor. Back to you.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. Next area is petition and communications from council and mayor. I see a couple. Alderman Grip.
Thank you, Your Honor. I wanted to give the City Council and the people of Davenport an update on the city administrator search. The special committee that was formed by the mayor in accordance with our ordinances met today to review the final candidates for the executive search firm. We had an RFP out. We interviewed those candidates, and I'm happy to say that the committee is going to make a recommendation to the city council. The city council will see that recommendation for a search firm on the April 17th committee of the whole agenda. At that time, the committee chair, who is Mo Hyder from Rhythm City Casino, will be here to make a short presentation to give you an update on how that process went. And pending the review and approval by the city council, we would get started on working with that firm to find our next city administrator. We are tracking towards a September 1st date to have a new city administrator in place, and I can confirm that all of the firms that we interviewed, we're confident that they can meet that September 1st deadline. Also, last council meeting, I announced that there were 2 people from the special committee who were unable to fulfill their obligations, and the mayor has been able to fill those roles. So Michelle Hargraves and Jim Lycum had to step away. They weren't able to fulfill the full duties, and so the mayor has appointed Farrah Powell to replace Michelle Hargraves and Rita Rawson to replace Jim Lycum. And that will start at our next meeting. That is my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just to note that on Monday, April 15th, the third ward meeting will be here in City Council chambers at 6:30, and that's our regular meeting time and place. Our topic will be the silent crossings on Canadian Pacific. It will be an update. Clay Merritt will join us. This is a topic that has great interest for a number of people in Third Ward, but certainly anyone is welcome to come. And again, this is discussing where we are with the silent crossings across the Canadian Pacific Railroad tracks. So thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderwoman McGinnis. Alderman Jobson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to announce this upcoming Tuesday, April 9th, 6:30 p.m. at Duck Creek Park Lodge will be the next 6th Ward meeting. Excited to have Director Collins from the libraries coming and presenting. So welcome everybody to come to Duck Creek Park Lodge next Tuesday, April 9th. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Jobson. Alderman Reinhardt.
Thank you. Just an announcement for the 8th Ward. We're April 11th, which is a week from tomorrow. We'll have our April Ward meeting at Red Hawk in the training room from 6 to 7:30. So I hope to see you all in a week. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Reinhardt. Anyone else? Okay, I just have an update. We had a City of Davenport credit rating review by Moody's and S&P Global. I thank the CFO, Ms. Merritt, and our finance staff, and Alderwoman Lynch and Alderwoman Newton to participate in that briefing. The comments are back, and the ratings have been reaffirmed, and some comments from the respective entities from S&P. Rating reflects the city's strong management and strong institutional framework score. The conservative budgeting practices continue to result in very positive budget variances and are further supported by prudent forward-looking policies. The rating and stable outlook reflect our view of Davenport's maintenance of very strong finances and compliance with its reserve and liquidity policy. We believe that the city's debt burden will remain manageable with capital needs covered by a combination of funding and bonding proceeds. And then Moody's, the assignment of the stable outlook reflects the city's very strong economic and financial profile, which is expected to continue into fiscal 2024. The issuer rating reflects the city's status as a principal city and employment center in the Quad Cities metropolitan area. And then awards, the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States awards a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting and a Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. And the City of Davenport has received the prestigious Excellence in Financial Reporting Award for its annual comprehensive financial report for 40 consecutive years, and the prestigious Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for its budget document for 20 straight years. These awards and accolades reflect a governmental unit that publishes documents will align with the GFO's strict guidelines and should be commended. Thank you. All right, we'll move to the respective actions for discussion. Community development, public safety, public works, and finance. The first area is community development. Alderman Grip and Alderman Reinhardt will discuss. Alderman Grip, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 4 items on community development this evening. I'll start with item number 1, a resolution authorizing the conveyance of vacated public right-of-way, that being a part of West 43rd Street, lying between El Rancho Drive and Rodeo Road. Is there anyone from the public who's here to comment on this item? Is there anyone from the council? This item will move on. Item number 2 is a resolution approving case P23-02, being the request of Splendor Homes LLC for a preliminary plat of Splendor Estates, a 118-lot subdivision on 27.94 acres located at 2448 and 2460 East 60th Street. Please note that the applicant submitted a revised 76-lot single-family preliminary plat to replace the original request. I am going to take the chair's privilege to propose an amendment prior to discussion so that we all agree on the resolution that's before us and that it reads the same as the number of plats that the petitioner has submitted.
I'll second that.
Let me make the motion first, Alderman. So my motion is to amend the resolution approving the preliminary plat of Splendor Estates from a 118-lot subdivision to a 76-lot single-family subdivision.
I'll second that.
All right. There's a motion and a second. Is this a roll call or a voice vote? Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, the amendment carries. And now, just so everybody is aware, what we just did is we acknowledge that the preliminary plat before us is no longer 118, it is 76. And with that, I will open the floor up for public comment.
Terry Eklund, I'll try to be quick. I don't really want to speak in opposition to this. We need housing. I do wish that it was, say, over by Palmer or infill rather than, I don't know if this is green space currently. I imagine it's possibly farmland. So in some sense, it's if it is farmland, that's not a very sensible thing for us to be doing. I believe that would be out by Pine. I believe it would be west of Pine on in that neighborhood. What did you say, 60th? Yeah, East 60th, I'm sorry, wrong way, on the other side of Jersey Ridge. So that would be probably green space, I think so. It's really stupid to be continuing to sprawl north and north and north and north. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna be lovely homes for people who can afford them, but no one who lost their homes in the Palmer removal and replacement project by the city of Davenport and Palmer is gonna be able to afford to buy one of these homes. So in theory, I'm opposed to it because we're paving over more farmland, we're killing more monarch butterflies, we're not really sensibly using our city. We used to have the same population and entirely be south of Kimberly, and instead we just keep demolishing houses and building more roads and more sewers and having everybody who lives here currently subsidize the new people. So it's not a very sensible project. On the other hand, we need homes, so there you go.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment? Step to the lectern, state your name and address or ward, please. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, Michael Howcroft. I live at 6015 Jersey Ridge Road, right across from the proposed project. I think as it's currently proposed, it's excessive. It's a significant increase on the original proposal, which was 47 lots. And I think it doesn't fit in with the rest of the neighborhood there. Most of the neighborhood, sits on lots that are half an acre or more. And I think that this current proposal will result in increased traffic congestion, significantly increased number of people. There are no parks in that area at all for any children, which will be problematic. And I think it's just not in keeping with the development that surrounds the project. And I think that I'm not opposed to development, but I think that the developer should go back to the original proposal of 47 lots, which stays in keeping with the rest of the housing in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Please step to the lectern, state your name and address or ward. You have 3 minutes.
Tom Pasternak, Davenport attorney for the petitioner seeking the replat. So here we are 8 months later, and again, I think I'd like to say that we made some progress based on the assistance of council 8 months ago. They asked us, for those of you that are new to the council or may not know about platting, you don't necessarily have to go to the neighbors first to seek platting requests. It's a simple situation where it goes through the staff, there's a hearing and a resolution is made and the public is invited, but there's no formalized discussion with the neighbors. We came here with the 118. The council asked specifically for us to go back to the drawing board if we could to try to listen to the neighbors. And in fact, we did have those meetings. We did have those discussions. We did make some concessions. And through the help of the ward alderman, we came up with what we perceived to be the best consensus available for all the parties, that being the 76 lot unit, single family, as designated on the plat provided. Bottom line is, usually I come before this council asking for rezonings or whatnot, and they always tell me, try to be compliant and see if you can get the staff recommendation or P&Z recommendation, because that's important to us, okay? Well, all I can say is this development is the most compliant I've ever had. I come back with many of these cases of which I'm running on shades of gray. But in terms of where I'm at here, this development is compliant with the comp plan. We did receive staff's approval for both the 118 and the 76. We did receive P&Z's approval for the 118 units. I'd also like to mention that we are compliant with the zoning code in terms of density and what needs to be done. We are compliant with the subdivision code. And most importantly, we don't do anything that unduly burdens the public services as a part of this development. For these reasons, our position is somewhat simple in the sense that we just see no reason that the 76 lot, or even the 118, but the 76 lot as we have now, should not be approved. With that, we thank you for your patience, the time for working with us. We look forward to your vote, and we look forward to proceeding with this development. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public here to comment on this item? Step to the lectern, state your name and address or ward, please. You have 3 minutes.
I'm Gordon Striegel. I live on East 61st Street. And back when we had the discussion at the library regarding changing this from 118 to 76, there was some discussion about eliminating the entrance off of 61st Street because it may not be necessary. And so my question is, what was the resolution of that? Because I see it's still there. And if it still needs 2 entrances instead of 1 by the fire marshal, can it not be off of, both of them off of Jersey Ridge? There's an open lot C that's possibly could have a second entrance in here and eliminate that straightaway coming in on 61st Street, which will be high volume during construction and after construction and high traffic speeds, I believe. So that's my question is it still possible not to have 61st connect into this addition?
So we heard your concern. We won't dialogue now, but when we go to council with question, we can ask the staff to answer that question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who's here to comment on this item? All right, seeing no one, I will go to council with question, and I will call on Alderman Reinertz.
Thank you. Just as a back history for the 8th Ward constituents, it started off at 47, then they came back with 100. They came back with 118. Then we had a neighborhood meeting where approximately 100 people showed up. We've worked hard to negotiate down from 118 units to 76. The developer dropped 42 units to get to 76 units. He did away with duplexes, no more duplexes. He provided larger lots so that we could have single-family standalone homes. We had approximately 100 people show up at the library, and they listened to this compromise. And to the best of my knowledge, the majority of the people voted yes, that they were satisfied with the compromise. So given that, I support the compromise, and I would ask my colleagues to support it as well. Thank you.
Alderman Jobson?
Thank you. And I don't know whether this is to the ward alderman, to the chair, or staff. Doesn't the plat have a condition for traffic calming along 61st attached to it? Getting a head shake from staff in the back. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so Laura, I'm going to ask you to answer the gentleman's question, and if you could also answer Alderman Jobson's question while you're up here as well, so it's on the record.
Laura Berkeley, Development Neighborhood Services. Regarding Alderman Jobson's question, you are correct. There is a condition to require some traffic calming on 61st Street as part of this at the developer's expense and at the direction of the city engineer. Regarding the possibility of eliminating the entry point on 61st Street into the Eastern Avenue Farms, unfortunately, the fire code does not allow that for the number of units, so 2 entry points separated by a certain distance is required, and so that's why the petitioner has left that connection intact.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the council? All right, seeing none, we will move on to item number 3, which is a resolution approving case F24-03, being the request of 5CL Illinois LLC for a final plat of Nor Dav Second Edition, a 2-lot subdivision on 19.3 acres located at 1500 West 76th Street. Is there anyone from the public who's here to comment on this resolution? Seeing no one, we'll go to council. Seeing no one, this item will move on. Item number 4 is a resolution setting a public hearing on the proposed conditional conveyance of city-owned property located in the 700 block of East 6th Street for the Riverview Heights Housing Project to Riverview Heights LLC. Is there anyone from the public here to comment on setting a public hearing?
Gary Eklund, I'll be very, very fast. I know that this is a limited liability company, and that means that it's presumably a for-profit entity, since those are normally limited liability corporations. And I just want to note the absolute difference between how the city treats people with money who want to make more money and people who are poor and attempt to buy a home and fix it up.
Is there anyone else from the public? Step to the lectern, state your name and address or ward. You have 3 minutes.
Cheryl Shagna, 3rd Ward. This is another conditional conveyance of city-owned property. And I drove by, checked out the property. Seems like a super nice location, super nice property. Need a little more information on the conditions of the conveyance, the amount of the conveyance. And also, when I researched the Riverview Heights, they do not seem to be local. And so I have some questions about that hopefully can be answered prior to it getting onto a public hearing.
Is there anyone else from the public? State your name and address or ward. You have 3 minutes.
Should be 5 minutes. Derek Cornett, 7th Ward. I have a problem with the condition, this conveyance in the packet that you sent out. no indication of what the charges are for the property. And, I mean, are you giving it away? Are you charging them for it? How much are you charging them for it? That looks like a really nice piece of property. So, you know, is the city just gonna give somebody money, I mean, good real estate for nothing again? So.
Is there anyone else from the public here to comment on this item? Anyone from the council? Okay. Two things. First off, my apologies for saying 3 minutes when it was 5. My mistake, and I apologize. Secondly, this property has a pretty long history of the city of Davenport trying to redevelop it for housing. It precedes my time on the council. In fact, when I came to the council, Alderman Boone was the chair of community development, and they were working on a tiny homes concept a decade ago. That didn't work. We've looked at a number of different projects. I think we've actually conditionally conveyed it to a number of people over a decade. It is a very nice piece of land. It's also a very difficult piece of land to develop as it's on a hill and there's a lot of infrastructure issues. So this is, again, a conditional conveyance of a lot of other things happening. I think Alderwoman McGinnis, this is in her ward, has requested a short presentation for the council prior to it being on the agenda. And so I think our staff is working on that so everybody can learn about this property over the last 10 to 15 years. And with that, Alderman Reinertz, will you please set our agenda?
Thank you. I make a motion to place items 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the consent agenda.
He doesn't get to speak. He doesn't get to speak.
Carry on. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor of setting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
If there's any opposed, same sign. The agenda has been set.
Thank you, Alderman Grip and Alderman Reiners. The next area is public safety. Alderman Joshen, Alderman Tim Dunn will discuss. Alderman Joshen, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item under the public safety agenda is a resolution approving street, lane, and public ground closure requests on the list of dates and times for outdoor events. I'll read each of these before asking for comment. First, Hope at the Brick House, groundbreaking ceremony, 1431 Ripley Street, 4:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., Friday, April 12th, 2024. Closure, Ripley Street from West 14th Street to West 15th Street. Next, Quad Cities Chamber of Commerce Student Success Symposium, River Center, 136 East 3rd Street, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. Closure, southernmost travel lane and parking lane on East 3rd Street from east of the River Center parking ramp entrance to Pershing Avenue. Next, Quad Cities Bicycle Club, Quick Star Criterium, Village of East Davenport, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday, May 27, 2024. Closures, Mount Street from East 11th Street to East 12th Street, East 12th Street / Fulton Avenue from Mount Street to Glenwood Avenue, Glenwood Avenue from Fulton Avenue to Hillcrest Avenue, Hillcrest Avenue from Glenwood Avenue to River Street, East 11th Street from Mount Street to River Street. Next, Common Cord, Live at 5 Block Party, 129 Main Street, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., Friday, June 7th, 2024. Closure, West 2nd Street between Main Street and Brady Street. And last, Village of East Davenport Business Association, Village Hops, Village of East Davenport, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, June 8th, 2024. Closures, East 11th Street from Mound Street to Jersey Ridge Road, Christie Street from East 11th Street north to the alley, Jersey Ridge Road from East 11th Street north to the alley. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment on any of these items? Anyone from council? Seeing none, that item will move on. Item number 2, motion approving noise variance requests on the list of dates and time for outdoor events. I'll read each of these before asking for comment. First, Common Cord, Live at 5 Block Party, 129 Main Street, 5 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., Friday, June 7, 2024. Outdoor music over 50 dBA. Next, Village of East Davenport Business Association, Village Hops, Village of East Davenport, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday, June 8, 2024. Outdoor music over 50 dBA. Is there anyone from public wishing to comment on these items? Anyone from council? Seeing none, that item will move on. Item number 3, motion approving beer and liquor license applications. I'll read those under Section A, new license, new owner, temporary permit, temporary outdoor area, location transfer, et cetera. We have Yanamart, 3815 West Kimberly Road, new license/owners, license type Class E liquor, carryout. And then there's those items under Section B, the annual license renewals, which I will not read, but they are there for your review. However, we then have Section C, which is requests for 19 to 20-year-old exemptions, which I will read, and we'll read each of these before asking for comment. First, at the Stardust, 218 Iowa Street, license type Class C, liquor on premises. Next, Redstone Room, River Music Experience, 129 Main Street, second floor, license type Class C, liquor on premises. And last, RME Courtyard, Common Court, 121 West 2nd Street, outdoor area, license type Class C, liquor on premises. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment on any of these items? Step to the name, or step to the podium, name, ward, or address. Have 5 minutes, please.
So please correct me if I'm wrong, but I just want to make note of it. Jessica Knowles, second word, sorry. I'm just wanting to know, is there any restrictions on the Daiquiri Factory or the M Lounge, like there was for Gillies, like there was for Thirsties, like there was for Yoshi's? Shenanigans?
Are you speaking to any particular item on this agenda?
Let me see. Let me look, because I know it's on here. Yep. For new license and liquor, motion 3. But I'm just wanting to know, I mean, I know a lot of us are wanting to know, what consequences are they having for those actions? I mean, somebody could have been killed that night. I know for a reason Gillies was shut down because somebody was killed. But that could have been the same consequences. Let's fix the problem before it is a problem.
Anyone else? Anyone from council? Seeing none, that I move on, and I would ask Alderman Tim Dunn to please set our agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to put all items on public safety on the consent agenda.
Did I hear a second down there? Yeah. I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, same sign. Closes public safety. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Jobson, Alderman Tim Dunn. The next area is Public Works. Alderman Dunn and Alderman McGinnis will read. Alderman Dunn, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item number 1 is a second consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 12.16 entitled Curbs of the Municipal Code of Davenport, Iowa by eliminating sections and updating language. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 2 is a second consideration of an ordinance amending Section 13.34.130 entitled Storm Sewers of the Municipal Code of Davenport, Iowa by updating language for storm sewer inspections. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 3 is a second consideration of an ordinance amending Section 16.28.050 entitled Sewers of the Municipal Code of Davenport, Iowa by updating language for sanitary sewer inspections and sewer extensions. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 4 is the first consideration of an ordinance amending Section 13.16.60 entitled Local Limits for Specific Pollutants of the Municipal Code of Davenport, Iowa to revise local discharge limits for specific pollutants. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item?
Judith Lee, second ward, and I would respectfully request the chair to have staff come up and explain what this is about, how the changes came about, and what it means for our water quality.
Sure.
Thank you.
Before I ask, is anyone else?
Derek Cornett, 7th Ward. I'm concerned with the increased levels of lead and zinc and cyanides that are going in there. Especially the cyanides, they have to be treated at the manufacturer prior to being released into the sewer system. That should be considered industrial waste and not sanitary sewer waste. Going into the sanitary sewer, cyanides kill the little microbes that are there to eat up the stuff and help break the poop down. And after they're dried and we go to dispose of it with all these heavy metals that they're trying to increase in, that concentrates the metals into the drying beds. And are we going to be paying more for disposal of hazardous waste versus just regular waste? These increases are only seem to benefit the manufacturers and not the individuals of Davenport. It looks like the city wants the individuals of Davenport to pick up the excess cost so the industrial people can pollute our city. So I'd like that to be addressed. Thank you very much.
Gary Eklund, and I left a photograph at home. I wish I'd have brought it. It documents the illegal disposal of brand-new, thousands of dollars worth of brand-new paints. It was liquid paint put into the back of a garbage truck.
Sir,
Well,
we're
it's
talking about sewer.
discharge, it's discharge for specific pollutants. And I'm just wondering, if there's criminal penalties, if they apply equally to everyone. I know I've been told repeatedly over the last 3 years, we have different rules for low-lives and low-life neighborhoods. This is a direct quote from your Public Works Department. If I can't quote the Public Works Department about a Public Works
Please
Department.
stick to the item that's on the agenda, please.
Well, I'm asking you if the law applies equally to everyone.
We're talking about pollutants.
Pollutants, and so am
We're not
I.
talking about
I'm talking about
charges
liquid
and
paint.
penalties.
Brand new liquid paint, thousands of dollars of brand new liquid paint.
I believe we're talking about limits.
And I would probably go,
That go to the treatment plant.
well,
So-
if I would be arrested for illegal dumping, why shouldn't a city employee be arrested for illegal dumping? I'll sit down, but the city declared that it was illegal for me to paint a mural on the side of my garage.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Brand new paints, liquid, illegal disposal.
Can we have some from staff come up and address these two issues?
Ryan Shad, City Engineer. What we're addressing this evening is the local limits for discharges from non-residential, the industrial businesses throughout the Davenport, Bettendorf, Panorama Park, and Riverdale area. This is typically, the local limits are updated on a 5-year cycle with our permit. These were updated in 2022. Unfortunately, the calculation sheet provided by the Iowa DNR for these pollutants was actually incorrect and had bad calculations. So the reason for updating it today is a new spreadsheet provided by the Iowa DNR to meet these limits. These are for coming out of the facilities into our sewer system. Other items such as paints, solvents, things like that are taken out to our Scott County Waste Facility. Those are recycled via other methods. We do not see those in the wastewater.
Thank you. Anyone, council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 5 is a resolution accepting work completed under the FY 2022 contract sewer repair program by Haggerty Earthworks in the amount of $767,687.25. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item?
Gary Eklund, I'll be real fast. The only reason why I'm speaking to this, I didn't speak to the first sewer thing. I told myself if I'm a prisoner, if I have to be here, I'm gonna speak. The sewer bill as it's currently done, as it's currently billed, contributes to every foreclosed house. And I'm asking the city, at some point, I'm asking the city council, the mayor of the city council.
Mr. Eklund, I'm going to give you one more shot here. Stick to the item that is on the agenda. And speak to the item. If you need me to read it again, I will read it again for you.
I am opposed to paying out any more money on behalf of the sewers until we do something about the sewer bills.
Thank you. Anyone else? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 6 is a resolution awarding a contract for the FY 2025 Iowa DOT Full Depth Patch Program to Langman Construction and the amount not to exceed $150,000. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 7 is a resolution awarding a one-year contract with 2 possible one-year renewals for the natural resources landscaping maintenance services to Dels Landscaping. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 8 is a resolution approving the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Veterans Memorial Parkway Trail Extension Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 9 is a resolution approving the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the West Central Park Avenue Division of Marquette Street Intersection Improvement Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council. Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 10 is a resolution approving the plan, specification, and form of contract for an estimated cost for the SRF Duck Creek Golf Course Wetland Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 11 is a resolution approving the plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the West 53rd Street Diamond Grinding Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 12 is a resolution approving and authorizing the extension of an agreement between the City of Davenport and the Iowa Department of Transportation covering the provision of federal aid funding for the Eastern Avenue Bridge over Goose Creek Replacement Project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 13 is a resolution approving the Water Quality Initiative Grant Program Agreement with the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship in the amount of $99,500 for the Goose Creek Park Environmental Restoration Project, and authorizing the Public Works Director, Assistant City Administrator, or designer to sign necessary documents and agreements. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 14 is a resolution approving the Land and Water Conservation Fund Grant Program Agreement with the Iowa Department of Natural Resources in the amount of $200,000 for the Goose Creek Park Environmental Restoration Project, and authorizing the Public Works Director, Assistant City Administrator, or designee to sign the necessary documents and agreements. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item?
And again, I request the chair to come up and describe what these projects are.
Sure will.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Could we have someone from staff come up and tell us what this project's all about?
Claymere Engineering and Capital Projects. So we have about a $1.6 million Goose Creek restoration and play project associated in the Goose Creek area up there on the west side of US 61. This has several components. Many of it is water quality components. This one in particular is centered on stream crossings and with some natural playscapes. And it's a grant that we were able to go for and able to receive. So this is what this particular one's for.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone from council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 15 is a resolution approving the purchase of 4 solid waste trucks for Public Works from Kilberg Equipment in the amount of $1,818,663 using Sourcewell contracts. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 16 is a motion approving amendment number 2 to Snyder and Associates of Iowa City in the amount of $59,383 for additional design services for the Goose Creek Trail Phase 3 Duck Creek Trail to East 46th Street project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Oh, I'm sorry. Come on up. I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Wendy Bartels. I'm in Ward 7. I was just curious about the additional design services that's costing almost $60,000. We did receive a certified letter a few hours ago, which probably explains this to us, but it's kind of clear as mud. So I was just curious if anybody could explain what the additional design services are for this project. Thank you.
Anyone else? Can we have someone from staff?
So this is the design services for the ARPA-funded trail on Goose Creek as part of the Goose Creek Trail Phase 3 project. Additional engineering services were needed. Part of the project is alongside, obviously, Goose Creek, it joins it, but we're also realigning the creek in several areas. And because of that, we needed to get approval from the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. In order to get that approval, we had to do a number of engineering modeling services. Once we did that, we actually found through that modeling that we, excuse me, let me back up. In order to receive the permit, you need to ensure that you are not increasing the levels of flooding along the creek system. That's where you do the modeling. The modeling actually shows that we lower that. It's what's called a no rise. And then the Iowa DNR has the option where they would actually like us, because of that, we're dropping it, to actually do what is like a conditional letter of map amendment. So we're actually changing the map amendment there for the flood zone. Part of that process is notifying the property owners or the adjoining property owners. That's probably what the mailing that they just received. Once again, part of the process. The next part is for FEMA to actually go in and review the modeling that's been performed. This particular amendment, it pays for the additional engineering services, plus for FEMA to review that process as we go forward. So at the time when we signed the contract, it was unsure whether this process was required. We don't know until we get to that stage with the DNR, and it's something that they asked us to perform.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, this item will move on. Item number 17 is a motion approving the plan specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the permeable paver project. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Council? Seeing none, this item will move on. Alderwoman McGinnis, would you please set the agenda for us?
I certainly will. I make a motion to place all 17 items on the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And that concludes Public Works for this evening. Your Honor, back to you.
Thank you, Alderman Rick Dunn and Alderwoman McGinnis. Next area is finance. Alderwoman Newton and Alderwoman Lynch will discuss. Alderwoman Newton, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tonight, Alderwoman Lynch and I have 7 items on the finance agenda. The first item, first consideration, ordinance providing for the sale and issuance of $27,715 million in general obligation corporate bonds, Series 2024, and for the levy of taxes to pay the same. Do I have anyone from the public wishing to address this tonight? Please state your name, ward, or address, and you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Cheryl Shagna, 3rd Ward. I understand that general obligation corporate bonds is debt, and the city is incurring what appears to be over $27 million in debt by asking for the ordinance for the sale and issuance of these bonds. The big concerning is the asterisk and what is in bold. Considering events in the city and bad advice from city staff in the past, when staff recommends suspension of the rules, it makes me nervous, especially with no explanation of why there would be an importance to push it through and rush it. I realize next Wednesday is April 10th, and there would still be, if you did the process, the 2nd and the 3rd would push us still out into April. And so why is the push to get it done tonight? If that's something that city staff could answer, that would be terrific, respectfully. Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public? All right. Could I please ask someone from staff to provide some clarification to the public as to why the recommendation, and specifically maybe touch on some of the changes in law that put in different timelines for us to meet?
Basha Gerlach, controller for the city. The reason that we have to adopt this in a 1-week cycle is due to the fact that the rates are only good for 1 day. And once the bidders come in with the new rates, and they will on next week, Wednesday, on the 10th, we only have 1 day to accept those rates and adopt that ordinance as a city. So the timeline is very strict. It's kind of similar to, I can explain it to individuals that are going to purchase a house. You only have a certain amount of time to get your rate set before it expires.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone from council? All right, seeing none, this item moves on. Finance agenda item number 2. Resolution setting a public hearing on the FY 2025 budget, operating budget, FY 2025 capital improvement budget, and the FY 2025 through FY 2030 capital improvement program. Now, a quick mention that this is recommended that it be voted on later on in the agenda. Do I have anyone from the public wishing to address the council? Is there anyone from council? Alderwoman McGinnis.
Again, could we have someone come in and talk about the timing of this as well? And why we were having to do this way?
Jim O'Dean, Assistant Finance Director. The reason for the quick vote is because when the state put together the timeline, they didn't factor into consideration a two-week cycle. So that's the reason that we have to do this, because we have other publications and things that need to be done as well. So.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from council? Seeing none, let's move forward. Next, agenda item number 3. This is a resolution awarding a contract for the Davenport Skate Park Improvements Project, Spoon Ranch, Inc. of Los Angeles, California, in the amount of $350,000 using Sourcewell contract number 112420 SRI, and its CIP number 64115. Do I have anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Anyone from council? Seeing none, moving forward. Item number 4, resolution approving 8 open prairie forest cover property tax exemptions. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Is there anyone from council? Seeing none, this moves forward as well. Item number 5, a resolution approving a 28D intergovernmental agreement between the City of Davenport and the Davenport Community School District for the purpose of providing school resource officers at the Davenport schools. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this item? Is there anyone from council? Alderman Jobden, please.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. I was wondering if our police chief, Chief Plato, could come up, just highlight some of the things that were said yesterday when Superintendent Schneckloth from Davenport Community School District was here about this program and some of the preventive activities that is being performed.
Absolutely. Your Honor and elected officials, Jeff Plato, your police chief. So today we're discussing the 28D agreement, which is the financial agreement between the city. This is set to cover 5 officers. The city actually pays the benefits and overtime of the officers, where the school system actually pays the full salaries. So in that agreement, we have 5. Currently, we have 4 officers that are at the schools. So we have each of Davenport North, Central, and West High School with an SRO, to include an additional SRO as a supervisor that covers the other schools. We hope once we get to a good staffing stability, we have the ability to work with the schools to add that 5th officer. Our SROs have been in with the schools for a number of years with Davenport. We have a fantastic history. Primary duties and responsibilities of the SROs are to assist the Davenport Community Schools in creating an environment that leads to a positive educational outcomes and preserves individual safety and security of the students as well as staff members. So us being there is not necessarily an enforcement measure. We are there to work with the school staff. A lot of the issues that may happen within a school system will fall under the school system's disciplinary issues. Where our SROs come in when it comes to actual enforcement activities are when there's some serious or severe events that rise to the level of charges.
But for us in the schools and our SROs, we operate on 3 pillars. The 3 pillars are safety, education, and relationships. Just some examples of this year that we have in the safety measures. Within your school systems, we have an anonymous tip system. Our officers are able to work quickly and rapidly with our schools. This year, we had a number of threats to the schools to where we were able to secure those anonymous threats, work with school staff, and ultimately lead to resolve. And some of the resolve ended up being charges for young adults within the community. Teaching, our SROs are within the classroom, so we teach upwards of 1,700 students this year so far in technology and law, and that covers a lot of the social media and cyberbullying and things along those natures to help prepare our young kids within the schools to understand these concepts and how they kind of impact their lives. And mentoring, we're there mentoring the officers, and I'll bring up a case where one of our SROs was approached by a young student with concerns of a friend because they were felt very confident of that officer and can confide in them. Ultimately, that led to an investigation, which led into a serious abuse case that was solved in a fairly rapid manner. So the ability for the officers to be there, be in contact, be there as a role model, and be there within the schools have been extremely impactful. And one of the other things I like to point out with, and we have the opportunity on a number of occasions to swear in a number of officers here, and we can count over the last 3 years, probably around 6 officers. West High School seems to be the lead out of our high schools, but we have North High School represented as well. So it's another tool for us to be there as a role model within the schools. The partnership with our schools is extraordinarily strong. It's a communicative effort each and every day. And we're very excited on where our SRO program is within our schools.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from council? All right, seeing none, that will move on. Item number 6, resolution ratifying Executive Order 2322, appointing Mallory Merritt as interim city administrator, ratifying the personal memorandum of understanding between the City of Davenport and Mallory Merritt, memorializing Ms. Merritt's appointment as interim city administrator, and approving amendment number 1 to the personnel memorandum of understanding between the City of Davenport and Mallory Merritt. Right before hearing from public, I do think that this, and after we hear from public, I would entertain a motion. I do think that this should be moved into 2 separate items, as one item calls for a ratification, the other is a new action. Is there anyone from public wishing to address this item? Please state your name, order, address, and you will have 5 minutes.
Gary Eckman, I live in Mr. Kelly's ward, and I have a couple of questions and concerns. Obviously, I'm in opposition. I think you already know that. One question I have, and no one has answered this yet, someone else kind of brought it up last week. I am not sure, it's my understanding that with the elimination of the public comment 1 week and the limitations the other week, that they've also added a censorship thing where the city government censors comments that they don't wish to be heard. And I have a question as to who the official government censor is, and I'm curious whether Ms. Merritt is the official government censor. It's my understanding that there's literally someone with a finger on a button that will censor comments that the mayor or the city council or the legal department don't want to be heard by the public or by the Department of Justice or by the auditor. So I'm curious whether or not she is the official censor.
Point of order, Your Honor. This is just an individual. We're not to talk of individuals at this dais. We are not to do that.
It was a question. It's a question. I think it's a legitimate question. I did not say she is the censor. I said, who is the censor? I would like to know.
That is our rule. Why are we letting this continue?
This is about an individual. This is about the specific contract with an individual. How can I comment without commenting on the individual?
Mr. Eklund, can we please stick to the
topic? When I spoke a couple of weeks ago, I was under the impression from someone up there who I will not mention that she had not previously served as the personnel director And then I read in a story by the Quad City Times that this particular individual, who I guess I'm not allowed to mention even though we're talking about her contract, according to the Quad City Times, she was the personnel director. And I think that there's a legitimate concern among individuals such as myself about fair hiring, and that if you were the personnel director in the city of Davenport at any time since 1980,
This is about a memorandum of understanding. The city manager, not anything to do with an HR director or personnel director.
this is about $50,000 to an individual. And the record of that individual is important. It's sort of like if I was gonna be hired to be a snowplow driver and I'd had 25 wrecks, you probably wouldn't want me as a snowplow driver. And to say that you can't talk about the 25 wrecks as a qualification is insane. You're filibustering my time. I understand how that goes. You don't want public comments, and I don't know who this. Last year, on the previous city council, I mentioned the demographics, statistics from the Davenport Community School Districts. I was here about 20 plus years ago. I attempted to get the racial and ethnic backgrounds of the city employees at that time for independent scholarship or journalism, and I was refused, and I had to set that project aside. But 20 years ago, the 14
Ms.
department.
Franklin, please stick to the agenda item.
Yeah,
Please.
if she was the personnel director, then she should be held responsible for the poor hiring. And if one department head has a different vacation schedule than all the other department heads, someone was responsible for that. And whoever's responsible for that should be held accountable. You shouldn't have 13 department heads with one vacation schedule and one with the other. Our meetings, I'll sit down. You know, you filibuster me, you don't want me to speak. Push your
Mr.
little
Eckler, you've been
censorship
warned.
button.
Please sit down. Numerous times. Please sit down.
Anyone else with public comment, please say your name and or ward or city.
Cheryl Shagna, Third Ward, and I am a person that did an interim job in the past. I trained my manager, and I did it without a pay increase. I'm not saying that that was the right thing to do, but I'm saying that's how it was done. I'm also saying that I appreciate the rewording on the agenda, the way the word bonus was removed. The 50K was removed, but when you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. I do believe that this was done improperly. Public funds were signed away without public involvement. The cart was put before the horse in a meeting, and it was in a closed meeting. The meeting I heard that was a closed meeting, I did hear one of the alderpersons very loud say, "Let's just get this done." So if that was signed under stress, pressure, or duress, I think you have an out. Sounds like there was some pressure, stress, and duress to have that done. You have an out. I also believe that it's not a binding contract. As Gary used the word contract, it is not a contract. It is an agreement. If it was called a contract, it would be written that way. If it was called a contract, it could be breached. It is a mutual understanding and agreement, and that is not binding. Again, if it was a contract, that would be binding. It is simply an agreement. Ratifying or saying yes, voting yes tonight is actually compounding bad decisions made by the previous council back in December. Compounding a bad decision with more bad decisions seems to be the status quo, the modus operandi for Davenport, especially regarding payouts to former employees. How many of you are already named in lawsuits against the city? How many lawsuits are there now against the city? How many potential lawsuits against the city will there be if you ratify this agreement tonight? I'm not against going and not putting the cart in front of the horse. When you're in the country, that's not a good thing. I'm not against starting the process over again, having the person paid by May if in fact they have earned and deserve the bonus. But if in fact you decide to vote yes and ratify this against what your people in your ward have asked you to do, I'm going to suggest you're going to start your countdown 18 months till you lose the next election. That's up to you to decide if you want to be a one-term alderperson, be finished with your time in service of the city, or if you want to continue to be in service of the city. It's your decision to vote no and do what your people in the city want you to do, and then move forward and do it the right way. I'm not putting pressure, I'm not applying stress, adding to your duress, but I believe that other people have. I appreciate a no tonight on the vote.
Thank you. Please state your name, address, or ward.
My name is LaShawna Dixon. I come from the 7th Ward. I'm usually one that keep all my agendas. I guess I've started throwing them away, after how many months of being here. But it is very concerning to me is that the rewording on not only one, but two of these agenda items. It's like rewording it may be better, or so many people won't be in such a hurry to come down here and talk to you like you're trying to hide something, which, sometimes that does happen. And then also I was also on my looking at online agendas, and that looks like that wording has been changed as well. So I don't think that's very fair either. So I would advise for y'all to write it right the first time. So, it's not confusing to everybody. But we still know this is about $50,000. There are several people, like Ms. Latrice, that is a part of the Civil Rights Committee, that has not had a proper bonus, race, vacation, et cetera. And yes, we're talking about money. I appreciate the point of order. I do. I got you. But this, but this is about money. What you want me to talk about? That's okay. I got it. Thank you so. I got it, Mr. Rip. Thank you so much.
Mr. Grip.
You're high on.
Ladies and gentlemen, please don't disrupt.
No.
Ma'am, continue. Continue.
Stop. I would like to say I did not mean any disrespect. You're still a man. You're still a sir. Mr. Grip.
Yeah.
Don't be high off your title with me. I did not mean any
Ma'am,
disrespect.
please talk to us as a body.
I'm done. No, I just.
Y'all turn public
Okay,
to
ma'am.
say the public.
Last chance, or you'll be,
Disrespectful.
last chance, or you have to leave.
Be quiet. Little boy Grip.
Please state your name, ward, or address.
Jessica Knowles, 2nd Ward. Let's be honest, we're not dumb. Just because you reworded it doesn't mean we don't know it's about the 50,000. Okay? I said this a couple weeks ago and I'll say it again. Why reward bad behavior for one, and for two, with all the lawsuits that we have going against our city right now, nobody deserves a new bonus unless it's already deserved and they haven't gotten it. And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Please step forward, state your name, ward,
Diane
or address.
Salmon, 8th Ward. The word games really need to stop. The people sitting up there mouthing stuff to people need to stop. We're not stupid. You want to give $50,000 to two different peoples. I understand they're doing a little more than what their job is, but $50,000 worth is a bit too much. We have got lawsuits, we have got homeless people, we have got people struggling, we've got the Civil Rights Department where one guy is working 3 jobs and Latrice is working her fanny off and they're not getting anything. I understand wanting to award somebody, but there was no contract signed. Everything was done in darkness. We're tired of it. I have no ill will towards either of the people that this is going to be mentioned tonight, but I'm looking at our city as a whole, and that's what you people need to do. We cannot benefit the pocketbooks of 2 and put the rest at risk, and that's what we're doing because we're just wasting money here and there and everywhere. So I'm asking you to not do this or to think about it before you do it, because we, your constituents, have voices outside of this place that we are not afraid to use. We cannot be shut down out there like we are in here. And as far as her saying, mister, that is a term of respect. She wasn't trying to disrespect you. She's just very passionate about what's going on. We all are. We love our city. We're tired of seeing it tanking. We're tired of seeing it in the news for stupid garbage. We want our city back to healthy. We want a city for our future generations. And we're not doing that when we're giving away money here and money there. We want to see where this 50,000 is supposed to go to. We don't even know that these hours are going to be put in correctly. We don't know any of that because nothing is shown to us. So if you want us to be calmer, you want us to be more for the things that you guys want, it's not you guys against us and it's not us against you. It's supposed to be us together. And we need to get through this crap, and the deceit needs to stop, the word games need to stop. We want transparency, honesty, and we want people to be accountable. That's all we want. So please give that to us.
Please state your name, ward, or address. You have 5
Lakana
minutes.
Dixon, Davenport resident. I just want to start off by pointing out exactly what my sister said, exactly what Miss Diane said. But you stopped her. You stopped my sister, who is an African-American woman, that came up here and speaking very nicely, proving out her point. She's not like other people want to talk about several different subjects. And when she used the word mister, you take it as a form of disrespect because you want to ride your alderman horse. Where, baby, I'll kick that horse in the leg. So let me go ahead and say what I got to say about this. About this. Point of order, point of order, point of order, point of order. Sing the song. I just want to say that this $50,000 is the same as it was weeks ago. You just reworded it. It's the same pig, just with lipstick. We all have I agree with Ms. Diane said, we all have the same common goal. Respect, dignity, decorum. We all have that same thing. But the thing is, us as citizens, when we come up here and say something to y'all, y'all act like we are horrible people. I understand the lady's doing a job, but let's let her do the job and then give her a bonus after she's done the job. Let's not give her a bonus before she does the job. Okay? That makes sense to me. And it's funny to me that you're giving her more than you give homeless shelters for winter. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't, you're giving it money to one person when you could be helping many. Our community comes first. It should always come first. Instead of just benefiting one household, when we need to benefit our community. But this is when y'all all took these seats, y'all was community, smiling and waving to the community. But you're putting less in the community than you're giving this person more. So let's prove that you actually care. And let's see what kind of job this woman is gonna do. Now, I will say this. When this first came out, I did kind of feel bad for these people over here because maybe they didn't ask for the 50, but somebody offered it to them, okay? Maybe that could have been the case. And we came down hard, baby. The community was not coming for it. But let's do it right. Let's make sure they do the job correctly before we give them a reward and a good pat on the back. Thank you.
Please step forward, state your name, ward, or address.
Latrice Lacey, the 5th Ward. Unlike some people, I do have ill will towards people who subject me to discrimination. So yeah, I would encourage you to vote no on this action. I would also like to point out that you're having to ratify this because it was not done correctly. The staff member who this is for was responsible for telling you the correct way to do it. Why are they getting a bonus if they can't even tell you how to do this correctly? It comes across as very self-serving. It comes across as unethical. And it comes across as sneaky. Anything that you have to do in secret, you shouldn't be doing. And then for it to come back before you all, the new people, and you have to vote on something that you knew nothing about, you were not responsible for, and that you probably don't agree with. Seems unfair. I'm sure you all have gotten a couple emails from me this week. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, this employee is responsible for illegally withholding vacation pay from me. Initially, I had only asked for it to be corrected and give me the hours, so there was no money being paid out. But what did this person do? They wouldn't put the shovel down. So then it was an order from the commission to pay it out. They still wouldn't put the shovel down. Now you owe me at least $50,000 because this person wouldn't put the shovel down. So maybe when you vote no on this tonight, you can redirect that to me for money that she owes me for her specific actions. This doesn't make any sense that we would even be discussing this again because somebody wanted to do a backroom deal in secret in excess of their authority. I'll quote the letter from the former city attorney that we all read online. You need 2/3 of council to appoint a city administrator or a city attorney. The mayor doesn't have authority to do that. And I would also like to question, was this done as a resolution so that you would only need 6 votes instead of the 7 votes that you would need to appoint a city administrator under the ordinance? It seems like it.
Please step forward, state your name, ward, or address.
My name is Cody Eliff. I work in the Civil Rights Commission, been there for 9 years. If you vote yes on this, I'll be adding it to my EEOC complaint. It's direct evidence of different treatment under the law. We do that, we investigate those claims for a living, so very familiar with them. Just letting you know that.
Hello, Jody Walker, First Ward. First, I'd like to say thank you for changing the action you're going to take tonight, because that is the correct action. When you add an amendment, you can't just add it to a previous and get it resolved. I've worked 39 years with government law, contracts, and regulations. That's not the right way to do it. And the fact that you guys are hopefully going to go forward and do it the right way is a good start. Secondly, I'm here to give you a different perspective. This action was done behind closed doors, fact, done so in violation of city code and ordinance. Outside counsel confirmed violation of said code. Abuse of power, and in order to make this agreement, you must ratify. You can vote no on this. There's 2 principles, the procedure and the terms and conditions. And you can vote no because the procedure was done incorrectly, but still accept the terms and conditions, the compensation. By voting no, makes this council go back and do this correctly. We already got problems with the state by violation of ordinance. Bring this forward by voting no and doing it the right way. You could end up in the same spot. I don't know what that compensation looks like. I don't have any idea. That's above my pay grade. But do it. Make sure this procedure is done correctly. You are here to do that on behalf of the residents. Stop this madness and do it the right way. And again, the terms and conditions, the compensation, you could end up in the same spot. But don't vote for this and make this correct, because you can stop it and redo it the right way.
Anyone else? Please state your name, ward, or address.
Derek Cornett, 7th Ward. Like this young lady said, this whole thing was done incorrectly. The mayor doesn't have the authority to do this. He cannot allocate money for the things city council does. He cannot appoint people to jobs, city council does. This is the place where you, the city council, gets to say something about it. Corporate lawyer and the city administrator, that's where you guys get to speak. Not the mayor, not the corporate attorney, you guys. So what you need to do is throw this, all of this out. You guys come back with a proposal and then vote on it. Don't ratify this crap that the mayor has put forth, because he's put you in a situation that he wants you to ratify it, so he'll have his butt covered. And that's just wrong. And, you know, they're trying to pull a fast one on you. If you look at that memorandum of understanding closely, it says that only certain people can remove Mallory Merritt from her office. And it's the mayor pro tem, and the 4 chairmen of the seats. That's not right. The mayor doesn't get a vote. What do you think? You're in charge of stuff? You're not. It's a whole vote of the council that gets rid of people, especially them. You know, how can you say that your 6 people get to vote on this? You know, you're really overreaching on your authority, sir. And, you know, you're gonna get smacked down for it.
Can you please
But
address the
anyway,
council as a whole?
vote no
Thank
on
you.
this, because this is just covering up malfeasance on the mayor's part and corporate counsel.
Is there anyone else from public wishing to address this item?
Katie from Davenport. You guys have heard everything underneath the moon up here. I just want to just encourage you guys to really look at what you're paying towards and look at the citizens. The citizens are crying. You have people that are out of places because their homes were evacuated. You have different things happening out in the city that needs the extra money. By giving it to one person, this is not the ideal time right now, so I encourage you guys to vote no.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Anyone from council? Is there anyone? Go ahead. Alderman Dovden.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Obviously, this is something I've thought about for a long period of time. You know, it's been pointed out before about the signatures on the MOU. Mine is one of them. You know, I'm one that's from the get-go is trying to maintain continuity and trying to keep this organization running. You know, how do we get that done, right? It's been pointed out that, you know, we all, I guess, want the best for the city. I mean, that's what people are claiming, right? And we know that there's more than one way to get to California and more than one way to get things done. And so as something that's, you know, I've been supportive of the get-go is, you know, specifically this person being appointed as the interim city administrator. You know, I try and recognize, do I have any biases or am I just missing something? Maybe I am. People can tell me whatever they think. But as I was listening here tonight, maybe a little food for thought for my colleagues up here. You know, if the naive question is, how would we do this right in the first place? And you land upon the best way to move forward is to have someone internal help steer the ship as we go forward while searching for someone from the outside to run this permanently. And the best person within the organization to do this is the person that has been put down for this position. Then what are we talking about, right? I mean, it's if that's where you feel, then if that's the way you feel, then you know, I think that's how we should vote going forward, right? I think we need the continuity in this period of time. I've spoken with an alderman from City of Rock Island who, you know, they recently went through having their their parks director, being their interim city manager while they're in search for their permanent. I've spoken with the mayor pro tem from Webster City. I mentioned them a few weeks ago. And he spoke about how in the past they've utilized internal city staff as interim city managers. They've also gone outside and recently hired somebody from the outside as interim. And so give good perspective. And so I guess, you know, wrapping this up and landing the plane is, you know, I do believe that we need to maintain continuity moving forward for our staff. I look forward to hopefully getting a great candidate pool that can help get things going when that time comes. And I just ask my colleagues just to ask yourself the naive question of if we could do this right and do it a different way, if you land on the same person as being who's already listed here, being that answer to your question, consider the way that you're going to vote. So that's it.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Grip.
Thank you, Alderwoman Newton. You know, I just wanted to make the point that Ms. Merritt has been working in this capacity with the understanding of the MOU since last fall in November. And so I do think that she had an agreement with the city. She has upheld her end of that agreement. She has worked as our interim city administrator doing the actual work since then. And she deserves to be paid what the city said last year. And I do agree with your path forward to separate the ratification from the going forward. And I think that is the right way to go about this, is to make a motion to split, and I would support that motion. And so on the second part of this, to Alderman Jobin's point, I again will reiterate that Ms. Merritt is absolutely capable. She's doing the job currently. She's doing a good job, and she is continuing to keep the city moving forward as we search for our next city administrator, which will be on board September 1st. So really, we're talking about April 1st through September 1st. We have somebody who's been doing the job, is doing the job well, and we should continue with that person. Obviously, we've got to figure out what that agreement is, and then we will have a new city administrator in September. Thank you.
Alderwoman Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to know if someone could explain what it actually means to separate this item here. What does that look like exactly?
I assume one of you will be making a motion to split this, and I assume the motion will be to split it at the amendment from the other two documents. If that motion is seconded, then there's no debate and a vote will take place. And then on the next agenda, you'll see those as two separate items.
So voting to split, so today we could vote to place these both items separately on the discussion agenda. And that gives us a chance to make changes to this as well if needed. Okay, thank you for that clarification. I would like to make a brief statement about this situation here. As you know, I'm one of the new council members. I didn't have anything to do with the prior agreement or what happened behind closed doors, so to speak. We have been put in a very difficult position, obviously, being asked to ratify things that we did not originally take part in. I would like to clarify from a business standpoint, I do believe that if someone does a job, they should be compensated for that job, and that goes for everyone across the board. It should be fair, and from my understanding, the $50,000 that we're discussing right now, the work is already done. This $50,000 is for the time that Ms. Merritt has been in this position since the past 5 months or so, 5 or 6 months. So the $50,000, I don't think it's relevant what we could do when it comes to compensating someone for a job that they're doing. We can't say, in my opinion, I don't think we can say, well, I'm not going to give you $20,000 bonus for a job well done because somebody else needs it more than you. I think that if you do a job, you deserve to be compensated for it. Again, everyone on every city level, from directors to staff members, and so on and so forth. So I will be supporting the motion to separate. And I will say in the short time I have been here, my communication and involvement with Ms. Merritt has been very effective. She's been very communicative. I think she's done a very good job. And when you go and look at the job descriptions of the CFO and the city administrator, they're very extensive. So just again, from a very business standpoint, someone that's new, fresh eyes, that's just something I did want to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman Lynch. Do we have anyone else from council wishing to address this item? Is there a motion to separate the items and put them on the discussion agenda? I have a motion and a second to separate the items. Now, for clarification, will item number 1 start at the resolution ratifying the executive order and end right before the "and approving" amendment? And then the second one would be "and approving Amendment 1 to the personnel agreement," or the personnel memorandum of understanding between the City of Davenport and Mallory Merritt. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, hearing no opposed, a motion carries. There are 12 items. One last, sorry. There's one last item, item number 7. A resolution ratifying Executive Order 2401, appointing Brian Heyer as interim corporation counsel and approving the personnel memorandum of an understanding between the City of Davenport and Brian Heyer, memorializing Mr. Heyer's appointment as interim corporation counsel. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this matter? Please state your name, ward, or address, and you will have 5 minutes.
Gary Eklund. I have had this debacle that I've been involved with began 3 years ago, Easter, so it's been almost 3 years, when a city man from Public Works inspector showed up in my yard. Since that time, over the last 3 years, I've had multiple face-to-face conversations with this lawyer, and I will be, if I was not desperately attempting not to go homeless, I would be currently in disbarment proceedings, attempting to have him disbarred. There is a 14th Amendment that is supposed to call for equal treatment under the law. Everyone is supposed to be subject to the same laws as everyone else. And I don't mean to be gross, but I don't know how any of you would feel if you came out your back door and you found someone from the city.
Mr. Eklund, can you please stick to the agenda item?
But no, I'm saying, this man is directly responsible for the destruction of my clothing that was hung out to dry.
Mr. Eklund, sit down. You're done. Personal attacks are done. I've warned you numerous times. Next warning, you will be escorted out. Sit down.
You're denying me the opportunity to speak?
Sit down.
Come on, Gary.
Yes, sit down. The last time, one more, if I have to say it again, you're being escorted out.
Let me help him. Let me help him. Come on. No, come on, Gary.
Thank you. Is there anyone? Is there anyone else from the public wishing to address this item? Please state your name, city or ward. You'll have 5 minutes.
Cheryl Shagna, 3rd Ward. I think that shows you that the legal department is not a benign department. It's not as benign as you might think it is. It does affect the people on the street. It does affect their mental health. It does affect how they react to the city every day. 24/7, 365. I don't know what I would be like if someone came into my yard and did what happened to Mr. Eklund. But I can be pretty sure it wouldn't be pretty. Speaking of what isn't pretty, our legal department, we're on course right now to spend over $1 million on outside counsel. So why in the flying do we even have corporate counsel inside? I missed an F in there. Why in the flying F do we even have an inside legal counsel? When on the advice of outside counsel, everything seems to be done. How much money are we going to spend? He's not saving us any money. He's just costing us boatloads of money. I feel like he wrote his own memorandum, his own agreement of understanding. The termination clause, that's just crazy. That's nuts. Whacked. I did some research on his education. The legal degree is one that you get after you get a bachelor's degree in something else, and then you spend 1 year and you take your exam. There are some people that are exceptionally good at taking tests. There are also people who are professional students. They're privileged. They can't relate to people like Gary. Or the homeless people even. Right now, city is appealing with the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. How many lawsuits are we going to get into? How many times is outside counsel going to say, or are we going to say on the advice of outside counsel? How many times are we going to rely on outside counsel? We've heard people in the city, employees, talk about being bullied by Bad Advice Brian.
Ma'am, please.
Bad Advice Brian.
Ma'am, last one, please.
Please.
One more time and you'll sit.
I'll sit myself. Bad Advice Brian.
Please, ma'am, sit down. Thank you.
My email that Latrice Lacey, Fifth Ward, my email that I sent council, not only do I not think that you should sign this agreement ratifying the executive order, I'm going to reiterate that these are the people who are supposed to be advising you on the correct way to do things, and they advise you on the correct way to not do things. Not only should you not sign this, you should fire him.
Yeah.
This person has been allowed to do God knows what to God knows who for however long. But I can tell you for sure the stuff that I have experienced. So we can say that staff who has performed duties because they were under the impression that they should have been paid, you want to make it right because that's the right thing to do in general, but not in this case. You can't enter into an agreement knowing that it's incorrect and then expect someone to come back and ratify it under the law. You're not relying on the terms of that agreement to think that you're entitled to something if you know that it's not a lawful agreement in the first place, and it's your job to know it. Now, I'm not sure if this is the consulting fee that we see here, the $10,814, but I'm sure you all received an opinion yesterday. And in that opinion, about me, which Corporation Counsel and the CFO have no authority to dictate anything about, it specifically says you cannot pay someone for services previously rendered. It says that's illegal. It says it's unconstitutional. So the legal opinion that Corporation Counsel got tells you that that numbers 6 and 7 are unconstitutional under the law. So why do they have them on the agenda? Are they constitutional for white employees and unconstitutional for black employees? Mr. Eklund is right. Under the 14th Amendment, you're entitled to equal treatment under the law. Under Title VII, you're entitled to equal treatment under the law. Under the Iowa Civil Rights Act, you're entitled to equal treatment under the law. Under the Davenport Civil Rights Ordinance, you're entitled to equal treatment under the law. But this person, and number 6, have made sure that there's unequal treatment. They've made sure of it, and they won't put the shovel down. They just won't. Why are they being rewarded? Why are they still employed? How many stories need to be told about stuff that they have done before council says, that's it? You don't need to be shoehorned into or forced into a corner to pick someone because they were already here. That's the way we've always done things. That's not an appropriate mentality. These people are already being paid more than they're worth. And then there's a discussion about giving them a bonus because somebody agreed to a bonus behind closed doors. That's not an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars. Every year, we've asked for more money. The legal department has funding for 4 attorneys. They only had 3. Have only had 3 since I've worked here the last 10 years. But for whatever reason, they've had funding for 4 attorneys the whole time. What happens with the rest of that money? Council doesn't know. I don't know. Maybe they don't know. Why are we doing this? Because it's coming off like a bribe. It really is. If there was any intent to do this correctly, these would be thrown out and you would start over with something new, like the person in the audience said. It wouldn't be any attempt to try to make something that was illegal, legal. It just wouldn't be. So for everybody here, it comes off as a cover-up. This person is not deserving of a bonus. They're deserving of a pink slip.
Please step forward, state your name, city or address
Cody
or ward.
Ealiff. I work at the Civil Rights Commission. The legal department has engaged in retaliation harassment since 2019 against me and the staff at the Civil Rights Commission. I don't think this needs to be passed. Again, I will add it to my claim. It is direct evidence of different treatment under the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Please step forward, state your name, ward, or address.
LaShawna Dixon, 7th Ward. I would like to start with, I am sorry for raising my voice. I should not have let somebody take me there. I would like to start there. Okay? Did not mean any disrespect. Okay? I apologize to you. All right. So again, the problem again is that this has been reworded in a way where it should have been written this way, probably in the first place. You know, we shouldn't be changing the wording in the agendas just to make it seem like it's totally different to confuse the community. That is totally not fair. Also, it's really concerning that we have our own attorney and we are still paying an unnamed law firm all of this money. That's concerning. It really is. We don't have any, we don't have any money left. Our water bills are gonna go up and whatever else is probably gonna go up. And when everything goes up, you put everybody else in a bad space. Probably at this point, and I agree, we probably should find another attorney. Just like we put in for a search for another, whatever. Yeah, thank you, City Administrator. Like, all we are asking for is to make this better. And then when somebody has such a poor reputation, you know, it muddies the water. Can we start to clear the water in Davenport? Everything that I say, I mean well. But how can we're losing control here. I'm 33 years old. I have no children. You know what I'm saying? Would I really want to raise children here in this city right now? Knowing all what we're facing, and it keeps on happening over and over, lawsuits. You know, we got people in Des Moines looking at this. If we can't fix it now, we're gonna be farther putting ourselves in debt. That affects us as the community. Is it fair to us? No. Because all we need to do is tweak. We might have to get rid of a few people, but let's tweak it so Davenport can continue to grow. We're not growing any right now. We're actually in a hole that everybody's refusing to see. But when all these lawsuits come through, oh, we're gonna be sitting down now. All of us. together, you know? So if we can get ahead of this, and by voting no, maybe finding another attorney, we can, yeah, it's gonna cost us money. Let us cost us money so we can get out the muddy water, and we can be in clear water. I think that's pretty much that we're all asking for. So I just want you guys to vote no. Probably y'all get together and find us another attorney. And then we can save us some money and have things done right. $1 million to a law firm for what? Make it make sense.
Anyone else? Please step forward, state your name, ward, or address.
Diane Salmon, I'm asking you to vote no on this as well. We've already got the auditor going through stuff. Do we really want to add more stuff for him to have to go through? We've had ridiculous things happening in our cities. We've got fire under our streets. We've got fire in our streets. It's not benefiting anybody to give $100,000 out. I understand, like we said, that they've done that job, but have they done $100,000 worth of a job? I don't think so. I know it's difficult what they do, but they are paid very high amounts already. We already have people who are struggling in our city. We have people sleeping in parks. We have homeless shelters. What about those people? They can't get a job because they don't have a permanent address. They can't get a permanent address because they don't have a job. So why can't we lower the bonuses if you insist upon giving them any, because they're not legal terms, they have not been put into a contract, they've just been agreed upon, and do some good with that money and bring our city back to where it should be. We cannot afford to keep throwing money around. We don't have that. We've got lawsuits coming. We're keeping Lane and Waterman afloat with all the crap, with all the stupid appeals that keep coming up, so people don't know what's being done around this place. But we know we're not stupid. We see and hear so much more than what anybody thinks we hear. And we love our city. We want a healthy city. I have grandchildren. I have 13 of them. And I want them to be able to live in Davenport, to be safe. I don't want them going through the crap that we're going through. I don't want them going through the fight that we're going through to try to make our city good. So please think about it. I don't know why you can't just scrap everything and rewrite it for the whole new council, bring everybody up to speed, nothing done in darkness, because clearly most of you listen, pay attention, don't look at your devices all the time, and understand what we're saying. And we can tell some of you truly care. So please consider this. Don't just do what we've done before, because what we've done before is not working. We need to start over. We need fresh. We need accountability. We need vulnerability from not just us, but from you guys. Some of you call on the phone, thank you, and don't just send emails. Don't just ignore stuff. And we appreciate that, but we have a city that is in dire straits right now, and we need this crap to stop. So please vote no.
Please state your name, address, and ward.
I should just have a name tag by now, right? Lakana Dixon, 7th Ward. I just wanted to say one thing that I heard and said, someone said that they did what is needed to be done to keep this organization running forward. This is not an organization. This is a city. So I don't know how many people's mindsets are like that, but it's a city. So do what's best for the people of the city. I'm not gonna go into what everybody said. I agree with what some people have said back here. I love you guys. So I'm not gonna take you, I'm ready to go. I need Bible study. So I agree with what the previous city viewers back here have said. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yep, real quick. Jody Walker again, First Ward. I wanted to address the two comments that were made by council. I totally get wanting to keep it running smooth. Everybody knew what the procedures were, the right procedures. If it was that important, why didn't you follow the right procedures to get this done correctly to begin with back in the fall? Why are we here perpetuating and maybe passing forward something that was not done correctly? I just don't understand that. If it was that important, the employees knew what the process was, they would have waited for it to take effect the right way and would have been fine with it. Now we're here, it's not done the right way. If they have to wait a little longer, I think they'll be okay. They're not gonna run off right away. That's it, thank you.
Anyone else? Please state your name, address, or ward.
Derek Cornett, 7th Ward. Basically the same objections as for Ms. Merritt. The mayor doesn't have the authority to obligate funds. He doesn't have the authority to go into these contract type arrangements, even though he thinks he does. And again, hidden in the fine print in the MOU, he's taking away city council, the councilman's right on firing Brian Heyer. He has removed your all's vote from it. He's limited to himself, who doesn't vote on that, who shouldn't vote on that, the city administrator, who shouldn't vote on that, and Mayor Pro Tem, and the 4 chairs. You know, what is the purpose of city council if he can just pick the people that he wants to vote on things? You know, vote no. That MOU is taking your authority away from you. You know, just read it. And, you know, $50,000, I don't know if they've earned it or not, you know. Why don't we just do it the right way and try to keep it in the light rather than trying to ratify something that was done in the dark and it's probably illegal, wouldn't stand up to a court. So, you know, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public wishing to address this item? Is there anyone from council? Alderman Grip.
Yeah, so I just wanted to speak to the idea that not having Mr. Heyer continue as an attorney at the city of Davenport would somehow save us money. It would in fact cost us a lot more money. There is a lot of routine legal stuff that they do throughout the day. Okay, that if we lost Mr. Heyer as counsel, that would leave us with 1 attorney. Okay, so all of the routine business that they do on a day-to-day basis, they work 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, probably more. All of that stuff it doesn't go away. They still have to show up to court on Wednesdays for routine city business. That still has to be done, and we would end up paying a legal firm for that. And I can assure you, that $1 million that was thrown out, it would be much more than that. So to say this is a cost savings to not continue his employment is wrong. It's definitely a cost savings. We would spend 10 times as much going out for contracted legal services for routine business. And then I'd also like to say, when we went without corporate counsel, you know, Mr. Heyer was set to retire and decided to stay, understanding the need for legal counsel in the city of Davenport. Okay, that is a good thing. It was respectable. And again, just like Ms. Merritt, he has done a good job in continuing to do his job in the face of adversity. And, you know, one of the things I heard is that we all want to get out of this space that we're in and move the city forward. That is absolutely true. Okay, and we are going to get there. We have an RFP. Thank you for continuing to be respectful of this meeting. We have an RFP out to hire a new city administrator, to hire a new corporate counsel. Okay, We have to replace the people that we've lost. We are going to get new leadership in place, and the city is going to move forward. But please, this council, 5 new people, 5 people who are existing, we need the space to continue to get to that point where we can have new leadership in place and a new council that's moving forward. And that is really my request. Let us get there, please. And the best way to get there is to continue for the next 5 months with the team we have. And then in September, start with our new team and look towards the future for Davenport. And I please ask you, let this council get there.
Thank you. Alderman Jobson, please.
Thanks, Ms. Chair. Just a couple things. One, I just want to publicly say thank you to Brian. I want to thank you for your duty to this city. I mean, what you're doing is obviously not hard, and I hopefully I have conveyed that to you, privately, but again, publicly, I just want to say that it's commendable what you're doing, and I thank you very much. And second, to my colleagues, I think the same naive question that I posed before is relevant here. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a question, I guess, for legal. Am I able to ask you about you? Because the question is, item number 7 is we're discussing you, but would it be a conflict if I also ask?
I guess that depends on what your question is.
Well, I'm curious, the gal that came up here and mentioned maybe starting over and writing it from the beginning and not ratifying something, is that actually an option? Is that something that could be done? Is it just as simple as we can just shred those documents and then just come up with a new one altogether, and now it's done correctly, and it's still pretty much the same terms, but just done differently?
Well, I'm going to answer that this way. I disagree I disagree with the inference that it was done incorrectly. The process that people are talking about from the city code is the process to hire a permanent city administrator and a permanent corporation counsel. The process by which Mallory Merritt and I were named interim occurred because there's a void in the law, and somebody has to occupy these positions to move the city forward for that time frame, because without people in these positions, things aren't going to get done. And the process that was followed, the process that was done to do the interim appointments, is the most logical process that the Iowa law provides. So I believe we're moving forward on the agreements the way they are.
Thank you for that clarification. I am on the committee that has been searching to select the search firm, the executive search firm for a new administrative city administrator and a new corporate counsel. So we just had a meeting today, and I feel very, very confident that we will have someone in place by September 1st. I also just want to get into a better space, like Alderman Grip mentioned here, and like everybody else has discussed week after week. This is frustrating for us as well. We also want change. Change is coming. I'm excited for it. Again, I feel very, very optimistic that the firm that we are going to recommend to council is a very solid, reputable firm. And I'm also very optimistic that we are going to find replacements that are competent and also will drive the city of Davenport to future success. So September 1st, that's just the date. Please keep that in mind. We're working very hard to make that happen, especially me. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Is there anyone else from council? Okay, seeing none. Want to point out that there are, are you asking? Oh, sorry, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Chair, for allowing me to speak at your committee. Appreciate that. I just want to say publicly thanks to Mr. Heyer, Ms. Merritt, wherever you are. There are some people that are here with you all the time and witness you and your staff's diligence and caring, and That is evident by what you have done previously and what she has done. And I believe totally that having you two continue and to the council for your consideration of this, that they have exhibited and will continue to exhibit the tenets to make this city strong. And I appreciate the work, and I just wanted to take a moment and thank you, Chair, for allowing me to say thank you for the work, and I look forward to you continuing to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for information only, there's 12 purchases between the $10,000 to $50,000 range. With that, I would ask for our Vice Chair, Alderwoman Lynch, to please set the agenda.
Thank you, Chair. I guess I'll just try it and see if that's what we're doing. I make a motion to place all items on the consent agenda with the exception of items 6 and 7 to be placed on discussion.
I hear a motion and a second.
Item number 1 will have to be on discussion because that will have to be voted on next.
Okay. Then I make a motion to place all items on the consent agenda with the exception of item number 1, 6, and 7.
A second from Alderman Dunn. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. With that, I yield the floor back to you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderwoman Newton and Alderwoman Lynch. Next areas, are there any other ordinances, resolution, motions? We have one. But first, we need a motion for suspension of rules to vote on that item. Is there a motion to do that? Second. There's a motion second to suspend the rules. Mr. Krupp, please call the roll.
Jobson?
Yes.
T. Dunn?
Yes.
Lynch?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Grip?
Yes.
Reinhardt?
Yes.
R. Dunn?
Yes.
And Burkholder?
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Very good. The rules are suspended, and now the resolution setting a public hearing on the FY 2025 operating budget, FY 2025 capital improvement budget, and the FY 2025 to FY 2030 capital improvement program. Is there any public with comment? Seeing none, will an alderman move the resolution?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion from alder folks? Seeing none, Brian, please call the roll.
Grip?
Yes.
Jobson?
Yes.
R. Dunn?
Yes.
Reinhardt?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Lynch?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Burkholder?
Yes.
And T. Dunn?
Yes.
9 yeses, Your Honor.
Very good. That resolution passes. Is there any other reports, Ms. Gleason? No, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Have a good weekend.